The free agency period is about to begin, and the Chiefs have started making new signings to strengthen their roster. Recently, the Chiefs signed two new players. However, the real question is how effective this decision will turn out to be. Let's have a look. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. Before moving to the actual video, I want to share some news with you. Most of you know by now that Worthy was arrested earlier today on allegations of assault. But here's the update. The Williamson County District Attorney, Sean Dick, has decided not to press charges against him. This was confirmed in a statement to the Austin American-Statesman. The statement reads, Mr. Worthy and his lawyers are fully cooperating with the investigation. So it looks like the case, or at least the initial charges related to assault against a family member by impeding breathing or circulation, has been declined. Now, this charge was a potential felony, but the court has officially listed it as dismissed, declined. This means the prosecution has decided not to move forward with the case, effectively terminating the legal action. This is undoubtedly good news for Xavier Worthy, especially since it happened so quickly. It suggests that even in the eyes of the district attorney, the allegations most likely didn't hold up. That said, I believe the investigation is still ongoing. Seth Kaiser, who is a lawyer by trade, shared his perspective on the situation. His reaction to the charges being declined was that the decision came incredibly fast. He noted that without knowing the specifics, the only reason authorities would make such a quick decision not to press charges is if they were presented with something that strongly convinced them the report wasn't true. Kaiser also made some key points worth mentioning. He emphasized that the case wasn't treated as under review, but rather the charges were actively declined. That distinction is important because actively declining to charge indicates a belief that the alleged incident likely didn't happen. He explained that with this type of language, there's always the possibility of reversing the decision if new evidence emerges, but in general, it reflects doubt about the validity of the allegation. He also highlighted the mention of a third-party witness, which appears to have been a crucial factor in the decision. Essentially, authorities reviewed the law enforcement reports, spoke with a third party, and considered the statements from everyone involved, the alleged victim, who is Worthy's fiancée or wife, as well as Worthy himself. They also reviewed body cam footage and other evidence before quickly determining there was no probable cause to charge him. When we say no probable cause, it means there wasn't enough reasonable belief based on facts or circumstances to conclude that a crime was committed or that evidence of a crime would be found. Here's some context on how things got to this point. After Worthy's arrest on the alleged charge, his attorneys issued a statement saying, "We are aware of the allegation that led to Mr. Worthy's arrest. We are working with law enforcement in Williamson County to ensure they have the benefit of the totality of circumstances that led to this allegation." It appears the situation stemmed from infidelity. According to the statement, Worthy discovered his fiancée's infidelity and asked her to leave. She reportedly refused to do so and allegedly made several extortive efforts before resorting to this baseless allegation. That was the pushback from Xavier Worthy's lawyers. They argued that this was extortive behavior, pointing out that Worthy discovered his fiancée's infidelity and had repeatedly asked her to leave. They also mentioned there was damage done to him, including his hair being pulled out, among other things. The lawyers stated they have video and photo evidence to support their claims. The district attorney who decided not to move forward with the case issued a statement saying, "Pending completion of the investigation by the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, we will continue to evaluate the case as is our practice with all declines. Should you develop additional information indicative of probable cause in this case, our office will consider that information and may present the case at that time to a Williamson County grand jury." So, while the investigation is technically still ongoing, the fact that charges were declined so quickly is undoubtedly good news for Worthy. It strongly suggests that the evidence, as it currently stands, does not support the allegation. Now, back to the original topic. The Kansas City Chiefs have secured offensive tackle Jaylen Moore on a 2-year, $30 million deal. Additionally, they've brought in running back Elijah Mitchell on a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. Let's dive into each of these signings. Starting with Jaylen Moore, he's a versatile player with experience as both tackle and guard in the NFL. His big opportunity came last season with the San Francisco 49ers when Trent Williams was sidelined by injury. Moore stepped up and started 5 games in Williams' place, performing admirably. Moore entered the league as a 5th-round pick in 2021, selected 155th overall out of Western Michigan. In college, he earned second-team All-MAC honors in 2020, showcasing his talent before making the leap to the pros. I'll delve into his numbers and analytics shortly to provide a better picture of his contributions during his time filling in for Williams, but based on what we've seen, his performance was impressive. Stay tuned as we break down those stats. Meanwhile, let's talk about Elijah Mitchell. He didn't play in 2024 but had a 3-year NFL career prior to that, appearing in 21 games with 12 starts. Mitchell's deal is a 1-year, $3.5 million contract, and all of it is guaranteed. To be honest, there's a noticeable difference in how I feel about these two signings. Between the two, the Jaylen Moore signing stands out as the more impactful move. Kansas City has been searching for stability at the left tackle position for quite some time, ever since Eric Fisher left, and Moore could finally be the long-term solution to that revolving door. This signing feels like a step in the right direction. The Elijah Mitchell deal, however, is a bit more puzzling. After not playing last season and seeing a significant decline in production since his impressive rookie year, it's hard to gauge what Mitchell can contribute at this point. That uncertainty makes the signing feel like more of a gamble. If I were grading these moves separately, Jaylen Moore's deal would easily earn an A for addressing a critical need. But when you combine it with the Mitchell signing, the overall grade drops. For these moves together, I'd give the Chiefs a B-. Now let's dive back into Jaylen Moore. Here's what stands out about his numbers from last season. In 271 snaps, he posted an impressive overall grade of 74.9, with a pass blocking grade of 73.1 and a run blocking grade of 70.1. He performed well across the board, excelling in both pass protection and run blocking. What's even more notable is how cleanly he played. Unlike Jawaan Taylor, Moore avoided penalties entirely last season. He allowed just 1 sack, 2 hits, and 7 hurries in his opportunities. That level of discipline and consistency is a big reason why this signing could pay off in a big way for the Chiefs. If Kansas City gets this level of production from Jaylen Moore and it proves to have staying power, they're in a very good spot. However, that's still a big if at this point. On the flip side, let's revisit Elijah Mitchell's trajectory. His rookie campaign was impressive. 207 carries, 6 touchdowns, nearly 5 yards per carry, and just shy of 1,000 yards. He looked fantastic, but things have gone downhill since then. In 2022, Mitchell had only 45 carries for 279 yards, averaging an impressive 6.2 yards per carry, but scoring just 2 touchdowns. Then in 2023, things worsened. 75 carries, 281 yards, and a sharp drop in his average to 3.7 yards per carry. It's worth noting that San Francisco in 2023 had an excellent offensive line and even made it to the Super Bowl. So how does a running back's average dip from 6.2 to 3.7 in that environment? That's a real head-scratcher. So Kansas City is pulling talent directly from the San Francisco 49ers, and it's intriguing to see how these moves will pan out. Free agency always reveals interesting dynamics, especially when you consider the teams players are leaving. When building a team, you want players who come from winning cultures, those who already know what it takes to play at a high level. When you bring in players from teams with less success, there's often an adjustment period where they need to learn how to win consistently. That's why signing players from an organization like San Francisco makes a lot of sense. Even though they haven't won championships, they've been highly competitive, and that experience carries weight. I'm not a big fan of the 49ers, but I respect the culture they've built. Players coming from an organization like that already have the mindset and habits needed to succeed, and they can bring that with them to Kansas City. For a team like the Chiefs, who compete for Super Bowls every year and have set high standards, this kind of cultural fit is invaluable. It helps accelerate the transition for these players as they're already familiar with what it takes to compete at an elite level. Now, looking ahead, what's next for this Kansas City Chiefs team? Addressing the offensive line was a priority, and it seems like Jaylen Moore is set to be the starting left tackle. Let's map out the rest of the line. Moore at left tackle, Kingsley Suamataia at left guard, Creed Humphrey at center, Trey Smith at right guard, and Jawaan Taylor at right tackle. The big question is, will this lineup be an improvement over last season's offensive line? Honestly, it's hard to say whether this offensive line will be better than last season's. There's still a lot of uncertainty, and more moves could happen in the coming days, either through additional signings or help from the draft. At this point, it's too early to draw firm conclusions. However, there's reason to feel optimistic about Jaylen Moore. His performance last season showed a lot of promise, and if that continues, the Chiefs might have found a solid answer at left tackle. As for the running back situation, if Elijah Mitchell can return to his rookie form, then this signing could turn out to be a steal. That version of Mitchell was highly productive and dynamic, but after not playing last season, it's tough to predict if he can reach that level again. It's a wait-and-see situation, and the jury is still out. The biggest takeaway here is the culture these players are bringing with them. Coming from a competitive organization like San Francisco, they already have the mindset and habits needed to perform at a high level, which should help their transition to Kansas City's Super Bowl caliber environment.